I am weak. We are explaining bootstrap fractals now. Okay, we need a new timeline. And to explain what the hell I'm talking about here, we're using Back to the Future. Regular ass Back to the Future to explain why the world ends if you do time travel this way. So, hold on. Making a timeline real quick. I think I'd do prep before starting recording, but no. Okay, so we have the base timeline, right? See the base timeline. Base timeline goes to 1985, and then in the past you have 1955. Great, right? So simple. This is a regular ass Back to the Future. 1985, Marty realizes that Doc dies, so he goes back to 1955 to save him, not really intentionally. So if you're with me, you have this happening, and this is vertical time travel. It is a vertical slice. Because this is a timeline that's already happened. This is a continuity that has already gone through. You cannot rewrite this. You can only create something new, so it has to be a vertical slice. There is no local present to go back to. The present's already done. Local present's over here somewhere. So Marty goes back, and we're creating a new timeline here. See? New timeline. Yeah? Marty saves Doc, whatever. Goes back to 1955. And hey, now we have a new timeline where Doc is saved. This is the original time where Doc was not saved, and here's the new timeline where Doc is saved. Now here is where things get unfortunate, because in the new timeline, there's a new Marty. We're gonna call him Marty 2, okay? And Marty 2 sees Doc die at the end. Only Marty 1 understands that Doc is alive now, or he doesn't really understand that at the time. That doesn't matter for this demonstration. The point is, Marty 2 thinks that Doc is dead, so Marty 2 tries to go back in time to also save Doc. So we have a new instance of vertical slice time travel. You know what this does? Is this creates 4 timelines now, okay? Are you ready? So, this timeline is the original timeline. This timeline is where no Martys went back in time and Doc dies. This timeline is where this is where Marty 1 goes back in time and Doc lives. This is where Marty 2 goes back in time. And in this one, Doc lives. Congratulations, happily ever after. This timeline is where things start to get bad, okay? You want to know why things get back here? Because this is the timeline where both Martys go back in time. And do you understand how fucking awful it is when 2 Martys appear in the exact same place at the exact same time? They would fuse. It would create a nuclear reaction as more mass than can properly fit in one space in an impossible density spontaneously comes into existence in the middle of a fucking farmhouse in, I don't know where Back to the Future takes place, probably California. And just, you're living in your farm one day, and then suddenly a fucking nuke goes off. Can you imagine? So this is the timeline where 2 Martys appear, or we're calling this 2 degrees, because the effect is, I had a name for it, but I don't like the name, so it was originally called Fizzle, I think. I want to change that. Anyways, this is 2 degrees of whatever that fusion effect is, whatever you want to call it. And that's bad because 2 Martys have appeared in the same place. But you know what's just as bad? It's just as bad here. It's that Marty 2 has now made it back to 1985, and he's created Marty 3. And Marty 3 also thinks that Doc is dead now. So Marty 3 also goes back to 1955. And congratulations, you know what that means? It means that we have some new fucking timelines. So we have one here, and we have one here, and we have one here. You know what this means? We have a new timeline where Marty 3 goes back and saves Doc. Congratulations, that's a stable timeline. We now have a timeline where Marty 3 and Marty 1 both appear, and that creates a 2-degree fizzle reaction. Uh-oh, that's a bomb. we have another timeline where Marty 3 and Marty 2 appear in the same place. That is unfortunately another bomb. Uh, and then we have the even worse timeline, which I don't think I marked. Actually, it's down here now, which branches off the previous one, where now you have Marty 1, Marty 2, and Marty 3 all appearing in the exact same place, which now creates a third degree of fizzle, which is 3 Martys appearing at the exact same point in space at the exact same point in time, which is so much worse. This has created another Marty who's also going to go back in time, and that's going to create another Marty, and that's going to create another Marty, and that's going to create another Marty, which keeps fucking duplicating timelines, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And then this distance between these 2 points, 1955 and 1985, is a 30-year distance, and so that is what is referred to as a paradox increment. So every time the paradox increment passes in Universal Standard Time, it duplicates all of the timelines again and creates a worse degree of fizzle, and then I've forgotten exactly how the math works, but I'm pretty sure it doubles all of the previously existing fizzled timelines, if I remember correctly, which I probably don't. Anyways, so after a certain amount of time, the fucking DeLorean becomes red hot, and all of the Martys inside become, an incomprehensible mass of irradiated flesh that is just trying not to explode out of the shell that is denser than any known metal on the universe. And eventually, it gets heavy enough to break through the Earth's crust and becomes an extinction level event in one of these timelines. And again, you're just living on your fucking farm in 1955. So, this right here is the worst case scenario. This is a bootstrap fractal, because Marty of timeline N is creating a new Marty that wants to go back in time in timeline N+1. That's it. This is what the blind beholder is trying to avoid with all the regulations involving horizontal slice time travel, because this gets messy so fast. This is why the blind beholder hates vertical time travel so much, because it keeps creating shit like this. If you are ever given the option, always go for horizontal slice time travel. Always.